It started with laughter, but not all laughter is kind. And that night, the kind that filled the studio wasn't celebration. It was the kind that cuts deep and echoes long after the show ends. The cameras were rolling. The audience was electric. Trevor Noah sat behind his polished desk, sharp as ever, the master of control. Across from him, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Hollywood's unshakable giant, the man who could turn any storm into a smile. But tonight, that smile would be tested. For years, Dwayne had been the crowd favorite, the people's champion, both in the ring and beyond it. He'd faced boos, betrayal, and pain under the spotlight before. But nothing quite prepared him for the sting of mockery, disguised as humor. It began subtle. A few light jabs about movie franchises, superhero roles, and how Dwayne had become too polished for his wrestling roots. Trevor's words were quick, smooth, and coated with charm. The audience laughed. Scrimmage smiled, polite, measured, almost mechanical. But his eyes, they didn't laugh with him. Then came the moment, prominence that crossed the invisible line. "So tell me, Dwayne," Trevor said, leaning in with that mischievous grin. "When you left wrestling to do Fast and Furious, did you realize you'd be playing the same role, just with a bigger paycheck and fewer real punches?" The crowd erupted. Applause, laughter, whistles. Trevor chuckled, tapping his cue cards like a man proud of his punchline. And for a split second, everything froze. Dwayne's face didn't move. Silence stayed. But it was hollow now, tight around the edges. Defiance of smile people wear when the room's laughing at them, not with them. He tilted his head slowly, the silence stretching like an invisible thread between them. Even Trevor felt it, the shift in air, the sudden pull from banter to something heavier. "You think that's funny?" Dwayne asked softly. Not angry, not loud, just calm, controlled, too controlled. Silence chuckled nervously, unsure if this was part of the act. Trevor smiled back, trying to read him, trying to gauge if the man across from him was still playing along. "Of course, man," he replied lightly. "You know me. All love, just jokes." But it didn't land, because some jokes hit like punches. Dwayne leaned back, eyes fixed on Trevor, voice steady. "You know, it's interesting how people love to joke about where you came from once you stop fitting their version of you." The room went quiet. That silence, thick, alive, swallowed every trace of laughter. Stiffness sulfur-faltered, if only for a heartbeat. Behind the scenes, producers shifted uneasily. This wasn't the segment they'd planned. Defiance, it was entertainment. It was truth creeping in, live, unfiltered. Trevor tried to steer it back. "Come on, Dwayne, don't tell me. You're losing your sense of humor. You've roasted people harder than I ever could." "Yeah," Dwayne said, "but I never confused respect with entertainment." The first crack in the illusion of late-night charm. Trevor blinked, caught off guard. The audience didn't know whether to laugh or hold their breath. Crimson around that fragile pause, Dwayne leaned forward, not as a guest, not as a celebrity, but as a man tired of being reduced to a punchline. "You invite people here. he said quietly. To talk, to share something real. But the second they don't fit your joke, it's easier to laugh at them than listen to them, isn't it? Trevor opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came. Roofing, no clever line, no rehearsed recovery. The tension was now a living thing, pulsing between them. The camera light blinked red, still recording, still live. For the first time that night, Trevor Noah looked uncertain. And Dwayne Johnson? He looked dangerous, not in rage, but in truth. Missed the kind of truth that can't be edited out once spoken. Somewhere a producer whispered, "Go to commercial." But it was too late. Simmons, the world was already watching. Because that night wasn't about comedy anymore. It was about respect. And the moment one man realized, live, unfiltered, that sometimes laughter is just another way of drawing blood. Seconds ticked down toward the break. Dwayne leaned back, arms crossed, jaw tight. Trevor forced a smile that no longer looked natural. And the air, once filled with applause, now carried only one thing. The sound of a man who'd had enough. This wasn't just another TV moment. It was the start of something bigger. And when the show returned from the break, it wouldn't just be about jokes anymore. It would be about consequences. And done laughing. It only takes one joke to turn a comedy show into a battlefield. Commercial break ended, but the tension never did. When the cameras lit up again, the applause sign flashed desperately above the audience. People clapped, not because they wanted to, but because they were told to. Salmon made noise, their eyes told the truth. Trevor Noah straightened his cards, clearing his throat, trying to stitch normalcy back into a situation that had already torn wide open. "So," he began, attempting a casual tone, "you were saying about your upcoming project?" But Dwayne wasn't moving past it. "My project is great," he said, "but let's finish what we started." Trevor froze mid-smile. This wasn't on the cue cards. Dwayne leaned forward again, elbows planted, every muscle coiled with a controlled intensity. "You said I left real punches behind," he continued, voice calm but sharp. "You think what I did before wasn't real?" The question didn't need an answer, but Trevor tried. "Look, man, wrestling is entertainment. You know that. The crowd knows that. Quincy cut him off with a stare so cold the studio lights felt dim. "Jang, entertainment requires respect, too." Those words hung in the air like a weight no one wanted to touch. Trevor tried to lighten the mood again. Humor, his safest weapon. "You're The Rock. You can handle a little roasting," he said, laughing a little too loudly. Dwayne didn't laugh. That wasn't roasting. That was belittling. Xiaomi shifted in their seats, restless, uneasy, caught between the need to laugh and the fear of offending the wrong man. Trevor exhaled, realizing charm wasn't going to save him now. "Okay," he said, leaning back, defensive. "Maybe the joke went too far. But come on, people admire you. You're untouchable. Why get worked up over a comment?" Dwayne's reply was immediate, unfiltered, because strength doesn't make you numb. The room went silent. Trevor blinked, realizing for the first time that vulnerability and power can sit in the same chair. Day continued, voice steady. "You think I never get tired? You think I don't feel it when people question who I am, what I've worked for, because they think it's funny?" A brief silence. Crimson. A powerful one. Trevor swallowed hard. Misinformation for this version of The Rock. "I'm not here to fight," Dwayne said, "but I won't pretend it's okay when someone tries to shrink me to get a laugh." Trevor down at the desk, then up again. A different expression now. Less host, more human. "You're right," he said. "Maybe I crossed the line." For a moment, it seemed like they might settle it there. Two men acknowledging the weight behind words. But then, it happened again. A voice from the audience, loud, careless, shouted, "It was just a joke! It was just a joke, Rock! Toughen up!" The crowd laughed. Shimmer, cowardly kind. Trevor didn't say it, but the show gave it a stage. Stiffness, and that was enough. Dwayne turned, scanning the audience, his face unreadable. Not anger, not embarrassment, disappointment. He looked back at Trevor. "See," he said, "you set the tone. You make it okay for people to think respect is optional." Trevor opened his mouth. No defense ready this time. Dwayne stood up. The chair didn't scrape. He lifted it slightly so it wouldn't make noise. Even in confrontation, he moved with respect. But his voice carried weight. "I didn't build everything I have just so someone could laugh and pretend I'm not worth taking seriously." He stared directly at Trevor now, the studio audience forgotten. "You want to talk about careers, about evolution? Fine. But don't ever twist someone's journey into cheap entertainment just because you have a microphone." He rose halfway from his seat, hands up like he was trying to hold the moment together. "Wait, look, I get it. I get why you're upset. Just sit. Let's talk it through, please." The cameras were still rolling. Millions were still watching. But the space between them felt suddenly small. Like the whole world had narrowed to two men battling for dignity under blinding lights. Didn't move right away. He just looked at Trevor, long enough that the silence became louder than any joke could ever be. Then, finally, he sat back down. Retched, not as a concession, as a warning. Trevor took a shaky breath, trying to regain footing in a conversation that had turned into a minefield. "Well," he said quietly, "I didn't expect this interview to go viral for these reasons." "You will," Dwayne replied, "and when it does, remember how it started." Trevor thought, nodded, feeling the gravity now. The show wasn't a comedy anymore. It was a question. How much truth can live television handle? The tension wasn't rising anymore. It was ready to explode. And the next question Trevor asked would light the fuse. Every show has a script, until someone decides to stop pretending. The lights burned brighter now. The studio air felt heavy, almost claustrophobic, like even the oxygen knew something was about to shatter. Trevor Noah leaned forward, fingers tapping lightly on his desk. The paper cards beneath his hands trembled, not from movement, but from nerves he didn't want the cameras to catch. He forced a small smile. "All right, Dwayne," he said carefully, "let's clear the air. You feel like I disrespected you. I feel like I was just doing my job. Maybe there's a middle ground somewhere in there." But Dwayne didn't answer immediately. He looked at him the way a man studies a stranger who just told him who he really is. "There's no middle ground between respect and mockery," he said quietly. The audience didn't move. Every breath was waiting for what came next. Trevor exhaled. "I wasn't mocking you. I was teasing you, the way I do with everyone." Dwayne's jaw tightened. Not everyone gets used as an example of what's fake. Trevor frowned, caught off guard. "Fake? You said I traded real punches for movie ones, that I left something authentic behind. You're implying what I do now doesn't matter, that it's all pretend." Trevor's tone sharpened. "I didn't imply anything. I made a joke about your career change and you're turning it into a moral crisis." Voice stayed calm, but it cut through the air like a blade. Because it is a moral crisis when people think respect is something you earn once and then never have to maintain. The audience murmured softly, uncertain whether to clap, gasp, or stay silent. Trevor ran his tongue over his teeth, trying to regain rhythm. "Okay, look," he said. "You've built an empire. You're the most loved man in entertainment. But part of that comes from being approachable, being able to laugh at yourself. People love that. People also love honesty, Dialegiculture. People also love amagism. Thanks to it, if you're putting off the deal, let's do love the bit of country. People also love honesty, as Dialegiculture. People also love honesty. 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 Dwayne said, and this isn't honesty, it's entertainment dressed up as empathy. The words hit like thunder. The thunder is the just risk withly. 21 last word that not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. This same thing, this word's just one quite is. It's contest. That's what it's completely. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. Trevor shifted in his seat. You're overreacting. That was it. Zhang the moment everything cracked. Dwayne's expression darkened, not with rage, but with something colder. The kind of cold that comes from years of swallowing disrespect with a smile. Termination? He repeated. Overreacting? He repeated. You ever had people clap for your humiliation? You ever watched a room full of strangers laugh because someone made your life sound like a punchline? Trevor's confidence faltered. This isn't that, it is. Dwayne's tone sharpened, final. And you don't even see it. The silence that followed felt like a scream being held in. Unauthorized moving. Trevor tried to salvage it, leaning forward, voice softer. I didn't mean it that way. You know that. Dwayne nodded slowly. Maybe, but the problem is the millions watching at home don't. They'll just see another man of color being told he's not real enough, not grounded enough, not authentic anymore because he dared to succeed. Trevor blinked. The words landed harder than he expected. The show had turned into something else entirely. Raw, uncomfortable, human. No laugh track, no punchline. Just the uncomfortable truth of how people mistake humility for submission. Trevor looked down. Maybe, Trevor said softly, we both needed this. Dwayne looked at him, the slightest trace of calm returning. Maybe, he said, but it's what you do next that decides what it means. Trevor nodded, unsure what to say. And then, without warning, Dwayne stood again. Submissive, it wasn't out of anger. It was exhaustion, frustration, the weight of holding back for too long. He looked around the studio, then back at Trevor. I came here to talk about my film, he said. Didn't think I'd have to defend my integrity instead. Wait, Dwayne, Trevor started, but he was already walking. Immigration, flooring, off the script, out of the illusion. The crowd broke into whispers. Trevor stared after him, torn between guilt and disbelief. The camera stood on his empty chair, the most powerful shot of the night. Because sometimes, silence is the loudest statement you can make. When a man like Dwayne Johnson walks out mid-show, time doesn't move. It holds its breath. The door swung shut behind him, and the sound echoed like a closing chapter. The audience sat frozen. No music, laughter, just the ghost of everything that had been said, hanging in the air like smoke after an explosion. Trevor Noah didn't speak. For the first time in his career, words had abandoned him. Shoreline, known for wit, for control, for charm, now sat staring at the stage exit, his heartbeat louder than his thoughts. The producers in his earpiece spoke fast, panicked. Cut to commercial, cut to... But Trevor didn't move. He just whispered, almost to himself, leave it. Don't cut. Because some moments shouldn't be hidden behind ads. Simmons' truths deserve to sit in silence. Backstage, Dwayne Johnson paced the narrow corridor, his breaths deep, controlled. The kind of breathing you learn when you've spent a lifetime holding back. Stagehands gave him space. They didn't need to ask what was wrong. Everyone felt it. He stopped a wall plastered with posters of smiling faces, comedians, actors, the ghosts of laughter past. He looked at them for a long time. Then he whispered, almost bitterly, everyone's laughing until it's their turn. His publicist caught up to him, voice urgent. Dwayne, they're still live. You sure you want to walk? It's going to be everywhere in 10 minutes. He turned, eyes steady. Let it be. But faintly, from the stage speakers, came Trevor's voice. I think I owe the man an apology, he said live on air. The audience murmured, surprised. Trevor continued, quieter this time. Sometimes, you cross a line you didn't see coming, and you only realize it when the person across from you stops smiling. Backstage, Dwayne paused. That sentence hung in the hallway like an outstretched hand. He exhaled, looked at the floor. And for a brief second, the storm in him eased. He turned to his publicist. "Tell them I'll be back." The crowd gasped when he returned. Not with applause, but relief. The kind of relief that comes when the ending might still be salvaged. Trevor stood as Dwayne approached, meeting him halfway between the desk and the empty chair. Two men under blinding lights, both stripped of their armor. Trevor spoke first. "I shouldn't have said what I said. You're right. Sometimes comedy hides cowardice." Silenced Dwayne nodded once. "I'm not here to cancel you, man. Just wanted you to see what that felt like." Trevor half smiled, fragile, uncertain. "Trust me, I felt it." Both sat again, slower this time. The air shifted, not lighter, but human. Stemmed Trevor tried to reset. "You know, it's strange. We live in a world where everyone's trying to prove they're unbreakable, but when someone actually shows strength through emotion, we mock them for it." Demolition Dwayne nodded. "Yeah, because it's easier to laugh at strength than to admit you've never built any yourself." Then, like they'd been waiting for permission to breathe again, Trevor leaned back, searching for balance. "Let me ask you this. When you feel disrespected, what stops you from reacting like the man the world thinks you are?" Dwayne gave a faint, rueful grin. "The man they think I am?" He'd flipped the desk. The crowd chuckled softly, the first genuine sound of relief all night. "But the man I actually am," he continued, "he knows you don't win anything by breaking what's already cracked." Reluctance deserved slowly. "That's heavy." Slashing Dwayne shrugged. "Truth usually is." Another pause. Submits. Then Trevor, quieter now. "You know, when you walked out, it hit me. The power of silence. You didn't yell. You didn't make a scene. You just left. And that said more than anything I could have scripted." Sniffus looked at him. Not proud, not angry, just calm. "Dismissing walking away isn't weakness. It's a reminder. A line in the sand." Sentence the audience clapped softly, hesitant but sincere. They weren't sure if they were watching reconciliation or the calm before another storm. Trevor smiled faintly. "You came back, though." You came nodded. "Yeah, because walking away's easy. Coming back to finish the conversation? That's the hard part." For a fleeting moment, the tension softened. Sniff, Trevor even laughed. And Dwayne, for the first time that night, laughed too. Not the performative kind, but something real, weary, human. It could have ended there. It should have ended there. But when pride meets pressure, peace never lasts long. Because as the show neared its close, Trevor decided to go for one last laugh. And that's when everything unraveled. Some moments end quietly. Others end because someone forces one last word. Thoriously, the studio had settled. Not warm, not cold, just fragile. Trevor Noah and Dwayne Johnson sat across from each other again. Two men who just walked through fire and somehow found a way back to their seats. For a while, it almost felt okay. Theodore smiled, the easy charm returning to his voice. "You know, Dwayne, you might have just given me the deepest interview this show's ever had." Powell Kinder smirked slightly. "Glad to help, brother. Didn't expect therapy, but here we are." Laughter rippled through the crowd. This time, it felt genuine, light, cleansing. The kind that stitches wounds, not opens them. Trevor leaned forward, sensing the energy had finally turned. And maybe, just maybe, his pride whispered that it was time to reclaim control. "So," he said playfully, For the record, can we agree that Hollywood punches still hurt less than real ones? Crowd chuckled. But this time, Dwayne didn't. The smile on his face froze, not in anger, but in disbelief. The moment stretched too long, too still. Trevor realized his mistake before Dwayne said a single word. I was joking. I know, Dwayne interrupted softly. You just don't learn. The room fell silent again, like lightning had cracked across a clear sky. Dwayne leaned forward, voice low but cutting. You had the chance to turn this into something real, something that might have made people think before they speak. But you wanted one last laugh. Trevor's confidence drained from his face. It's always just a joke until someone's the punchline, Dwayne said. The words hit harder than any shout could. The crowd sat motionless, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats, sensing the weight of what had just snapped back open. Trevor tried to recover, but his voice faltered. Dwayne, come on, man, let's not... But Dwayne wasn't done. You know what hurts most about jokes like that? He said. They come from people who should know better. People who've been on the other side of that laugh. Trevor looked down, shame flickering in his eyes. You're right, he whispered. I messed up. Dwayne nodded slowly. You didn't mess up. You revealed something. A long silence. Then Dwayne stood. Not angry this time. Calm. Resolved. He looked around at the audience, then back at Trevor. I came here because I respect you, he said, and because I believed this show was about real conversation. But if all you want is the next viral moment, you got it. Trevor opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Placed his mic gently on the desk. The difference between us, Trevor, is that I know when a moment ends. And with that, he walked. This time, no hesitation. Miss, no return. No second act. The audience didn't clap. They just watched. Discriminate. Some with admiration. Some with regret. Every pair of eyes followed him to the exit. The same door he'd walked through before, but now with finality. That door closing was the loudest thing they'd heard. His hands trembled slightly. The man who built a career on having the last word had just lost it. The producer's voice came through his earpiece, trembling. Trevor, say something. We're still live. He looked straight ahead, at the empty chair across from him. Then at the audience. Then, down at the cards in front of him. He whispered, barely audible, sometimes we don't realize what respect costs until someone walks out with it. Then was it. Imminent outro, no applause, just a fade into silence. Later that night, clips of the confrontation flooded every corner of the internet. Impartial split like fault lines. Dwayne Johnson humiliates Trevor Noah live. Trevor's joke goes too far. Respect versus ratings. Who was right? The debate raged for days. But behind the noise, the truth stayed simple. Dwayne didn't walk out because of a joke. He walked out because laughter without respect is just another kind of insult. Weeks later, when Trevor finally addressed the moment publicly, he said only one thing. I learned more from that silence than from any standing ovation I've ever had. And as for Dwayne, he never spoke about it again. Didn't need to. Because sometimes walking away isn't quitting. It's remembering who you were before the noise. And on that stage, under blinding lights and forced laughter, Dwayne Johnson remembered. He wasn't a brand. He wasn't a punchline. He was a man. And that night, he reminded the world what respect sounds like when it finally speaks for itself.